This is BluLunch, Sheridan College's own sports podcast, hosted by Jay and Drew.
Good afternoon. This is BluLunch. I'm Justin Smith, and I'm with my co-host, Andrew Reichheld. This is our first podcast for Sheridan College. We're going to be talking about the last week in sports, and this will be happening for every week up for the next few weeks or months or however long we get it for. So anyways, we have a ton of stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about Toronto sports, obviously. There's some big news for the last
positive news
for
once.
Finally. Wow. In the last 7 days, we've had some interesting developments if you're a Toronto sports fan, but we're going to be talking about that. And I guess we could just start off with what happened last night for this the Argonauts. I mean, I was surprised. How'd you feel?
I knew they had a chance. Going into Montreal is a tough place to play. Anthony Calvillo, maybe the best quarterback of all time, and the Argos pulled it off. Good for them. It's almost like a Hollywood script. I mean, it's the 100th Grey Cup. They're playing it in Toronto. They're playing it at the Rogers Centre. What better way than to have the Argos there?
Yeah, and I mean, how did you feel about the interceptions late in the game?
Well, Ball played a great game. Huge difference maker on D. I felt Calvillo was pressured into the interceptions. I mean, the one he overthrew his receiver late in the game, and at the very end there, if you saw, it looked as if the Argos caught a break when Bratton dropped the ball. It looked like it was right in his numbers, right in the chest. And
I know, that was brutal. When I saw him intercept that ball, I was like, this could be the play that gets them to the Grey Cup. It wasn't in stone yet. Montreal could still have scored after that play, but I was nervous. If he didn't make that, it was touch and go there for a while. I'm glad as a Toronto sports fan that they picked it up and they got the win.
Who do you think is the biggest part of the success this year for the Toronto Argonauts?
Hands down, Ricky Ray. Mm-hmm. I think Chad Owens is right there with him, but I think Ricky Ray, you can't touch him. He easily is got to be the Argos MVP of the year. He has to be.
I think it's Chad Owens.
Really?
I mean, the guy's got almost 200 yards, all-purpose yards every single game he averages, and he's up for CFL MVP. Without Chad Owens, they're nowhere. Ricky Ray's not throwing the ball to anybody.
I love Chad Owens. I think he has a great attitude. I think he's exactly what the Argos need. But I think that Ricky Ray, when it comes, I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Chad Owens, Ricky Ray, the Argos are playing great right now. I do think that, they need to get away from the slow starts. But I think they've been growing, and I think Ricky Ray has been a big part of that.
How bad is the Ricky Ray deal?
Oh, geez.
For Edmonton, I should say.
It's bad. I don't think the Eskimos are looking at this situation with the Argos getting into the Grey Cup and saying, "Gee, this deal worked out for us." I don't know. I don't know how the fans are feeling in Edmonton right now. But if I was an Eskimos fan, I would not be happy.
They got Steven Giles, who couldn't do it here. So what makes you think he's going to do it in Edmonton? They got a place kicker, and they got the second overall pick in the draft. And you think, maybe if they turn the second overall pick into something, it'll work out. And then what do they do with the second overall pick? They trade it for basically more picks, and they end up taking a lineman and a wide receiver who were just insignificant to the team. Kavis Reed he told Eric Tillman that if they traded Ricky Ray, it would set the franchise back 5 years. What happened? Eric Tillman's fired.
There you go. And the Argos are in the Grey Cup.
Well, there's 3 quarterbacks that I feel that you would want on your team without a doubt. It's Anthony Calvillo, Travis Lulay, and Ricky Ray. You got guys like Henry Burris and Darian Durant, who they're nice. They can get the job done. Burris is getting up there. But when you're talking about, like, guys to build your team with, and Ricky Ray's a Hall of Famer. He's won the MVP. He's won the Grey Cup. I mean, Toronto did a great job getting him in. If they win the Grey Cup, he's going to be a huge reason why.
I have a question for you. Calvillo.
Mm-hmm.
Is his best days behind him or what?
I think he'll come back another year. Obviously, his best days are behind him. The middle 2000s, I mean, it seemed Montreal was going to the Grey Cup every year.
Yeah.
Calvillo won MVP in 08, 09, 03. I mean, I think he's the best quarterback of all time. Can't believe Hamilton traded or let him go. Because Hamilton originally had him, but he flourished in Montreal, and good for him. He's the best.
So about, I mean, the game right after in the West, Calgary and
I must say, I don't know about you, I didn't think Calgary was going to win. Not going into BC, Lulay, G-Roy Simon.
I watched a bit of the game too, and I was thinking, no, I think BC's going to pull this out. You know, to me, they're a better team. But the fact that Calgary won, I don't like how do things fare now for the Argonauts? Is that better or worse? I personally think it's better.
Yeah,
that
no,
Calgary
you're right.
won.
You're right. I think BC's the stronger team. That they got the tougher defense. They're more balanced on offense. But if Kevin Glenn has anything to say about that,
he's
he's
coming back. That's all I gotta
say. In case you forgot, Kevin Glenn originally made the Grey Cup in 07 with Winnipeg here in Toronto, but he was hurt in the semifinal game. I think he broke his arm or his wrist, and they had to bring in Dinwiddie, and obviously Winnipeg didn't win the Grey Cup. Saskatchewan did, behind Kerry Joseph. So I think Kevin Glenn's going to want some revenge. I think he'll be out to play.
And I think he'll play well. It's the big stage. They play well on the road. They played well in BC, or in Vancouver, sorry. And I think that they're going to give the Argos a run for their money. I don't know about the Argos losing that game, though. I'm not saying that because I'm a Toronto sports fan. I'm saying that because
it's meant to be, I think. That's what it seems like, at least.
I mean, would it surprise me if they somehow didn't win the Grey Cup? Nope. Let's look at the record for every other Toronto sports team. Or let's not, because then we're going to be here all friggin' day. But anyways, I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be good for Toronto. I personally tried getting tickets last night. Yeah, I don't know. My girlfriend was laughing at me, saying that they've been sold out for a while. I don't know how she knows. I'm a little embarrassed now. Why did I even say this? But anyways.
Here's a question for you. If Calgary wins the Grey Cup, what do they do with Kevin Glenn? I mean, Kevin Glenn, now let's play this out. They started the year, they said Drew Tate's our quarterback. Rightfully so. Young, flourishing guy. And then he gets hurt. And Kevin Glenn comes in, wins 10 games, and then Tate comes back and they say, sorry, Glenn, you're going back to the bench. Drew Tate goes in there, wins him the Saskatchewan game on a broken arm, and now he's out, and now Glenn leads him past arguably the best team in the CFL in BC. And so if they win if they win the Grey Cup, who's the starter next year? Do they say, you got to keep Kevin Glenn? You got to.
I have a theory. I think that you go with what is working. He did get you this far. I mean, who's to say if they win the Grey Cup? Like you're saying, if they win the Grey Cup?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they win the Grey Cup, who's the starter?
He has to be the starter. If he wins you the Grey Cup, you'd be dumb not to you wouldn't be dumb. I can't say you'd be dumb. I'd say it wouldn't be right. I would think that you would make him the starter next year. Sure.
I can't believe how teams just tossed Kevin Glenn to the side like he's a bag of trash. Happened in Saskatchewan, happened in Winnipeg, happened in Hamilton. Why Hamilton wants to groom Quentin Porter And when they have a perfectly good quarterback in Kevin Glenn, I don't know.
I think-
and now the same thing's happening in Calgary with Drew Tate. The guy can't catch a break. Now he's finally getting to the Grey Cup. He deserves to win.
I think he's played off of that though. I think the reason he's been playing well is because people gave up on him. The teams gave up on him. They send him off. Now Calgary's got him, and he wants to prove people wrong. And if he wins the Grey Cup, at least in my books, I think he did. I don't want him to win the Grey Cup, but it would be an interesting storyline for a Grey Cup win. So,
give me a prediction for Sunday's game.
oh,
Actually, give me a prediction for the Vanier. Who's going to win, Mac or Laval? No, nothing.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know if I can give you a
A
prediction.
rematch of last year. I think it was a double overtime game. Mac came out on top, and now they're going for a rematch on Saturday or on Friday. Personally, Mac's won 21 straight games in a row. Until they lose, you got to pick them. But
Well, logic states that 21 games in a row.
who's going to win the Grey Cup? What's your prediction?
Again, with predictions, I'm very. I don't like making predictions in sports because usually they're in favor of the teams I like, and then they lose. Exactly. If I had to make a decision, I'd say 42-27 Argos.
Wow. Well,
I think they're going to get their offense back a little.
as a Ticat fan, it pains me to say this, but I do think the Argos will win. I think if they were against BC, BC would.
For sure.
Even if Toronto's at home.
That would be my pick, too.
Yeah, but
for sure.
I don't think Calgary's as strong. And I'm not going to give you a score, but I hope Kevin Glenn proves the critics wrong and wins a Grey Cup.
And I want to see Ricky Ray holding up that cup because my boy, he deserves it without a doubt. So next we have the Jays.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not that big, They didn't do much.
They didn't sound
Minor move here or there.
It's not like they changed the franchise or anything.
They just added $50 million in payroll, proved the media wrong that they weren't willing to add payroll. They signed a guy who led the league in batting average last year before the PEDs, but yeah, no, not big at all.
Yeah, and I guess just break down the trade. How did it go for both teams? What players did they get?
Well, the Jays got Josh Johnson, Jose Reyes, Mark Burley, John Buck, Emilio Bonifacio. They got essentially Florida's 4 best players. And, I mean, the Jays gave up peanuts, really. They gave up Henderson Alvarez. At the press conference, the Marlins pronounced his name Anderson Alvarez. It just shows you their goal. They didn't even know the player they were getting. So they got Henderson Alvarez. They got a Denny Hechavarria, Yunel Escobar. And then they got some prospects, some good prospects. If you look at the Jays system, Anthony Gose and Travis d'Arnaud are really the top 2 big names that if you're going to go after anybody in the system, those are the guys you want. And the Jays were able to keep him, which is a good thing. They traded Marisnik, who actually is ranked ahead of Anthony Gose by MLB prospects as the Jays' top outfield prospect. And then they traded Justin Nicolino. He won Pitcher of the Year in Lansing. But from what I hear, Syndergaard is the better pitcher. So it's a good move. If you want to contend right now, if you want to contend with Boston and the Yankees are spending money, and Boston looks a little vulnerable right now.
There's no Boston anymore.
But Baltimore proved last year somehow, I still can't get over it, but they proved that they're a player, and Tampa's always going to be there with their young pitching, their young core. So